Today we are going to look at the customary system and length conversions. We're going to use multiplication as a way to convert some standard or customary lengths. Some of you may know that the metric system is very popular. Most of the world uses it. However, in the United States, we use this customary system where we have cups and feet and inches, yards, miles, all that good stuff. So things that we might already know, we might know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. We might know that 1 yard equals 3 feet. We may know that 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. And it also is equal to 5,280 feet. Those are just some measurements that if you don't know, we will need to learn those. One thing that I have for you as far as these measurements here, we can make our yard, our big Y, and inside we write foot, foot, foot. And inside those O's we put the number 12. This showing that in 1 yard we have 1, 2, 3 feet. In each foot we have 12 inches. Things that we need to know. So let's read our first problem. Some students are standing on a pathway in front of the school. The pathway is 2 1/2 feet wide. How wide is the pathway in inches? So here we are converting from feet to inches. From feet to inches. So instead of us memorizing, oh, when I convert from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, I need to do this. And when I convert from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, I need to do that. I don't think that's necessary. I say we always just write down something that we know in the same order that it's written there. So since feet are on the left here, I'm going to write feet on the left there. Since inches are on the right here, I'm going to write inches on the right there. What do we already know about feet and inches? Well, I already know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Because I know that, it's going to help me a lot to figure out this conversion up here, just by knowing this simple fact. Well, we're going to use a conversion factor to get from feet to inches. Today, we're only going to focus on multiplication. Down the road, we'll work on multiplication and division as conversion factors, but today we're only going to work with multiplication. What multiplication am I doing to get from 1 to the number 12? Well, I can multiply 1 times 12 to get to 12. Well, because I know that about this simple fact, 1 foot equals 12 inches, I can apply this anytime. I mean anytime I go from feet to inches. So I'm going to do the same exact thing because I'm going from feet to inches and multiply by 12. Multiply by that conversion factor. So when I multiply by 12, I get this problem over here, 2 1/2 times 12. Well, hopefully you remember, anytime I'm going to multiply a mixed number, I'd like for that to be improper, so I'm going to use my Ferris wheel. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5, so I have 5 halves times 12. In order for me to multiply fractions, I like to have a denominator and a numerator in both, so it makes it easy for me. And we multiply straight across. 5 times 12 is 60. 2 times 1 is 2. And I happen to know 60 divided by 2 is 30. If you don't know that off the top of your head, you could set it up like this. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 0 divided by 2 is 0. And we're left with 30 there. So my answer here is 30 inches. Maybe you can also use some reasoning skills to check that that actually makes sense. Some of you might know that 2 feet is equal to 24 inches and 3 feet is equal to 36 inches. Since that's between them, just like this is between 2 and 3, I know my answer makes some mathematical sense. Let's continue to our next problem. Philip's mug is 2 2/5 inches tall. How many yards tall is his mug? Well, it's inches tall. For us to do yards, that sounds kind of weird. But let's see what we can do. Again, for me to do something difficult like this, I just focus on what I already know. I have inches on the left. I put inches on the left. I have yards on the right. I put yards on the right. What do I know about inches and yards? Well, I know 1 yard has 36 inches. Remember, I said that we were going to use a conversion factor and multiply only. I'd like for you to think for a moment, what could I multiply 36 by to get to 1? Some of you are thinking, well, you said earlier that one day we're going to divide. Let's just divide by 36. But I'm going to challenge you to think, what multiplication would be the same as dividing by 36? Hopefully you figured it out. If I multiply 36 by 1/36, I get 1. Here's some proof for you. These can cross cancel, and I'm left with 1/1, which is 1. So if I know I can multiply by 1/36, I'm going to do the same thing here. Which brings in our fractions for our lesson today. 2 2/5 times 1/36. In order for me to multiply fractions or mixed numbers, I want this to become improper. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. Maybe some of you can see that we can cross cancel or simplify before we multiply. And I see I can divide 12, but divided by 12 is 1. 36 divided by 12 is 3. And I'm left with 1/15. So 2 2/5 inches is equal to 1/15 of a yard. 1/15 of a yard. Well, does that make sense? If 36 inches is 1 yard, and I only have a little over 2, that my answer is definitely less than 1 whole. Let's look at problem 3. The front door of Greg's home is 3 3/4 feet. Whoops, typo there. 3 3/4 feet. Oh, the is was moved. Wide. How wide is Greg's door in yards? Okay. Well, again, I have feet on the left, yards on the right, and I need to think about what I know about feet and yards. I happen to know 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. I need to find a conversion factor for any time I go from feet to yards. Well, I'm going from 3 to 1. I know that I could divide by 3, but today the challenge is to figure out something you can multiply by. What can I multiply 3 by to get to 1? Well, I can multiply by 1/3. anytime I go from feet to yards, I can multiply by 1/3. The nice thing is I don't need to memorize that. I can just write down what I know and use that to help me. So I multiply by 1/3, and here I have 3 3/4 times 1/3. Use my Ferris wheel to change this to an improper fraction. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. And I see I can cross cancel or cross reduce. Divide 15 by 3, we get 5. Divide 3 by 3, we get 1. I'm left with 5/4, also known as 1 1/4. 1 1/4 yards. Now, doesn't that make sense? 1 yard is 3 feet, so just a little above a yard is a little above 3 feet. That makes some mathematical sense to me. So remember, in this problem, you write down, in these problems, you write down what you already know. The simple fact that you already know. Figure out what you have to multiply to get from one to the other. Use that in the problem you're trying to figure out. For those of you who want the extra help, let's go ahead and look at the problem set. Joshua has 2 feet of string. How many inches of string does he have? It's 2 feet of string. I already know 1 foot equals 12 inches. So anytime I go from feet to inches, I multiply by 12. So here, I'm going to multiply by 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 is my answer. He has 24 inches of string. Peter's room is 3 yards wide. How many inches wide is Peter's room? Yards on the left, inches on the right. What do I know about yards and inches? I know 1 yard equals 36 inches. To go from yards to inches, I multiply by 36. Multiply by 36. Let's set up a standard algorithm multiplication for ourselves. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 108 inches. 108 inches. Continuing on, 1 3/4 yards to how many feet? Yards on the left, feet on the right. I already know 1 yard equals 3 feet. My conversion factor, what I multiply by to get from 1 to 3 is 3. I'm going to multiply by 3 here. 1 3/4 times 3, or 3 over 1, same thing. Use my Ferris wheel. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7, so we have 7/4 times 3 over 1. I can't simplify, so I see 21/4. I like to go back to a mixed number since that was a mixed number, so I'm going to divide 21 by 4. Can't make any groups of 4 from 2, so I look at 21. I can make 5 groups of 4 from 21 with 1 remainder, so that 1 is still being divided by 4. We get 5 1/4. Continuing on, we have feet on the left, inches on the right. I know that 1 foot has 12 inches. Multiply by 12 to get from feet to inches. Multiply by 12. Now I have 3 1/2 times 12 over 1. Might as well make it a fraction. Use my Ferris wheel. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we have 7/2 times 12 over 1. Divide by 2, divide by 2. We get 42 over 1, also known as 42. As you go, check the reasonableness of your answer. If 1 foot is 12 inches, 3 feet would be 36. 4 feet would be 48. This is in the middle, just like we want it to be. Let's put inches and yards. 1 yard equals 36 inches. Oop, that one's done for us. 1 yard equals 36 inches. If you were doing the math here, you would have multiplied by 1/36. 36 times 1/36 gives me 1 whole. What we already know, feet to yards. Feet, yards. 1 yard equals 3 feet. To get from feet to yards, I will multiply by, normally you would think we would divide, so what could I multiply by? 1/3. Because remember, multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. Some review of our division here. 3 1/6 times 1/3. Ferris wheel. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. And we get 19/18, which is the same as 1 1/18. Which is greater, 7 yards or 20 feet? Well, in this one, you'd have to set up a conversion for that. So I'm going to do 7 yards equals how many feet? And then I'm going to compare that to the 20. Well, I know 1 yard equals 12 feet. So my conversion factor here is 12. So 12 times 7, that gives me 84 feet. Well, which one's bigger, 20 feet or 84 feet? The 84 feet. That's 7 yards. Which is greater, 5.5 yards or 16 feet? Well, on this one, I'm going to again convert. I'm going to do 5.5 yards equals how many feet? I know 1 yard equals 3 feet. Oh no, I messed up. Boo, 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 boo. Don't. Look at it. 7 yards equals how many feet? Boo. 1 yard equals 3 feet. So I multiply by 3 and I get 21. The 7 yards is still bigger. 21 feet compared to 20 feet. Okay, so I know 1 yard equals 3 feet. I multiply by 3. I multiply by 3. 5.5 equals 11 halves times 3 equals 33 halves, which is 16 1/2. Which one's greater, 16 1/2 or 16? The 16 1/2, which is equal to 5 1/2. I hope this helped, guys. Don't forget, write down what you know to help yourself figure out what you don't. Slow down. I was going maybe a little too fast and made some simple mistakes.